5 o'clock.
Oh my god, it's 5 o'clock. Hit the intro button.
Intro button. Boom. I don't know. She probably can't hear it on her end.
I don't know.
We can't hear it on our end either.
Oh.
Nope.
Are we streaming? Is she getting a feed from us, or is she getting a feed from Twitch?
It's specifically from Skype, so she probably sees us through Skype.
Ah, so she doesn't see the
All
fancy
the
intro
fun
screen.
stuff, unless she opens it on like her other phone.
That
Right,
makes
I
sense then. And 30 seconds behind.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, well, let's do the intro then.
Yeah.
Wait.
Bros and Brolettes.
Bros and Brolettes.
Vikings and Valkyries.
Welcome to Iron Theory.
A podcast about fitness, life, and everything in between.
And the screen is still blank.
Here we
we
are.
are. We're back.
We're back.
I'm Arthur.
I'm Chris. And we have a special guest today.
Carly
Williams. Carly Williams. Carly!
Hey.
Yeah, so this will be a fun one. I've known Carly for, I guess, 3 years, now? I guess it's been like 3 years.
About that.
2017.
So, yeah, think about that. So almost 4 years.
Yeah, so it's been a minute.
Right.
So we have Carly on, and she's pretty awesome. She's done a bunch of stuff, and we're gonna find out today what kind of things she has done and what kind of influence she has over her clients, and kind of how she got to essentially where she is right now. So yeah, today's gonna be pretty fun.
Yeah.
And so I'm interested because I know that you and I have very different training philosophies, and I wonder how ours differs from Carly's. So I'm very interested to see like how many different views on like training and eating that we can get.
Yeah. That'd be
Because
interesting.
we're vaguely polarized.
A little bit. I mean, there's stuff that crosses over,
Yeah.
but I think it'd be interesting to hear her perspective. But let's start with just the basic shit. All right, Carly,
Right.
who are you? Like, just quick background, like wherever you kind of want to start with that.
All right. Hi, my name is Carly. I was and am a personal trainer for the most part. I also am a co-owner of Carby YEETS. Carby YEETS, which is a meal prep company. I also got an LLC in Williams Fitness, so I was a trainer at Export for a while. I had a personal training background at UIC as well as a student trainer, and now I'm doing it on my own. I have 15 clients, but I mainly focus on them, and then I also focus on doing like bigger challenges for people that I can't train one-on-one. I don't have enough time to do more than that, so I keep my base, and then then I have that I try to share knowledge, man. Like, I just want to educate as many people as I can. I want to see the world do great. So my philosophy is mainly just I want to see people do well. So whatever it takes to get there, and whatever education or motivation it takes to get there, like, let's figure it the fuck out, So
Yeah, and this is an unrated show, so you can say fuck and all that fun stuff.
perfect.
So
get it out of my system.
What got you specifically into fitness? When you started, back whenever that might have been specifically, what got you specifically into jumping into fitness, kinesiology, all that fun stuff?
Right. So when I was younger, I was really into sports, and then I got pretty depressed. I got bullied pretty bad, and I got really out of shape. And I think that fitness, or like working out and like joining new sports, it started making me really happy. And like once you start working on yourself, that's like the first step into like self-efficacy, or like believing in yourself. So I really liked that. So I really wanted to be able to help people. That's why I did personal training. In terms of kinesiology, I also have like this like real big fear of like not being able to move, or like being wheelchair bound ever in my
Hell
life. That
yeah.
sounds literally fucking terrible. So I really would never want that. So learning the human body, how it functions, how it moves, and how to enable the most movement that we can, while still being like strong and able in other terms too.
So I mean, like Arthur kind of mentioned, the philosophy thing, like how he's like more, strictly strength. I guess I'm a bit more functional, hypertrophy kind of bodybuilding stuff. I guess would you say you fall in line with one or the other, or you prefer something more than another when it comes down to like your own personal like training?
Right. So initially, I started like very aesthetics based. So that's why I did natural bikini competitions.
Oh
I
yeah,
really
that's
wanted to
fun.
have. I wanted to have a very specific look, and like I thought aesthetics was like a real big thing. One, like movement, super important, but I find it so fucking cool to be able to like outlift like most of the dudes in the gym. So
She's
PRs
strong.
and strong lifts, like I really really like strong as fuck lifts. Like it's like, and it's not a competition with dudes in the gym, so that wasn't whatever. But like I like being fucking strong, and relatively like it is harder for females to get strong or stronger than. So it's cool. I don't know. There's like a big adrenaline rush to like a PR of something that's, I
Yeah,
don't know, heavy too. So
definitely.
I like being fucking a beast in fucking
Arthur would
everything.
agree.
I'm just
Right.
sitting here and letting she is speaking.
Yeah, he's speaking his language.
Our hearts are beating together right now.
Right. I mean, I think being a beast though in fucking everything I do, I want to do that. Like, I want to be fucking very multifaceted. Like, so with that, like, I want to be able to move. 'Cause if I'm not able to move, then I won't be able to lift real heavy when I'm old, right? So I want to
Exactly.
keep the fine tunes in gear. It is harder for me to focus on mobility and stretching though. Like, I definitely overwork myself in every aspect. So,
You think
um,
that's like I mean, as far as your training lately, like what's been your split lately? Like what kind of stuff have you been doing?
well, because I got in a motorcycle crash in July. So I broke my arm. Yeah,
Oh
this metal
yeah,
plate in here. So chest is pretty hard.
metal as
Chest,
fuck.
biceps. Right, right. I'm just bionic. It's cool. So I used to have like more of an upper body day, more upper body days instilled into my program, but now I do like a shoulder day. That I usually put like with hamstrings or glutes, just because my quads and my hip got messed up in the crash too. I do legs twice a week. So one's a heavier to squat, like my heavy squat day typically. Then I have another accessory leg day at different ends of the week. Back day, and I switch off 1 week's rows, 1 day's deadlifts.
Yeah.
Every other week, and then like accessories another day. I work out Monday through Friday. Saturdays and Sundays are really really busy for me, so I let those 2 days be my rest day. Where I used to only let myself have one rest day. So
That's cool.
So one of the questions that I knew I really wanted to ask was, what was is there any major way that your like actual approach to training changed before and after your injury? Because I know with the arm, it's such a weird thing. When I squat, the most pain is going to be in my elbow just because of the positioning. Is there anything
right.
that you have to work around, or something that you learned about your body through the injury that you're now sort of incorporating into your training that perhaps you weren't
Right.
like fully cognizant of before?
Right. So actually, that's exactly why I threw in just a glutes day, like part of my routine, because my quads are very overcompensating. And before, I was very big into mobility, and I stopped being. So after the accident, I instilled so much. I do yoga like 2 to 3 times a week. I have to, because like otherwise I can't lift heavy, and like I have to keep like I have to keep moving. So I've gotten really inspired in that. Squats, yeah, are hard for me. Like, so I just got back up to 315 to put the full load to tuck my elbows. So my elbow flares. So if you like look at any of my videos, my elbow goes out because once I hit a certain weight at a certain depth, it's a lot of pressure and my arm kind of moves out of it. So working on mobility and just like more reps at weights that I can stand to keep that bare. And then like it'll go up. It's just time. It just does hurt. So I did realize, well, that's new. But then I'm working on my glutes and other stuff for my hips because I fucked up my back and my hip. And I know my glutes being behind my quads and my posterior chain being behind whatever is also hurting me from my normal routines as well. So without the
Yeah.
accidents.
Would you say your training has changed? Yeah. Or do you say would you say that you train harder post accident than you did pre accident, or you just been more aware of it? You know, compared to how it was before.
Right. I definitely do more mind muscle control, which I never did before, where I'm really squeezing specific muscle groups. Like I'm really focusing on that and really making sure I'm engaging, like for instance, like hamstrings and hamstring curls versus like letting my lower back take any of the load, or like moving, like my positioning is moving and like making sure I'm retracting my shoulder blades 100% correctly. And I've also like it relit a fire in me fucking for sure. Like I was kind of like idling with training and I got so fucking mad I couldn't move. That kind of goes back to that whole like not being able to move philosophy. So I like got really encouraged to go back to the gym and work. I like definitely training harder now than I was before the accident as well.
Yeah, I mean, like I tweaked my knee. I think this was, I remember warmer weather, so this might have been like, I don't know, this was like October or something. And like just that, like just getting into like a 90-degree squat, it was just pissing me off so much. So I can just like only imagine, from where you had to kind of come from the accident, just kind of rehabbing and doing all that stuff. Like I was already like furious I couldn't like squat for like a week or two proper, or with like a heavier load, I should say. So it was just a lot of just like working it, So I can kind of relate, but like not necessarily, I guess.
Right. I went from being able to fully squat 315 to like the bar hurting. Like I couldn't squat at all. I couldn't bend at all. I couldn't, like if your arm's broken, you can't put a bar on your freaking back. I couldn't leg press because my hip was messed up, my back was messed up. I was so mad. I literally had like no weight, fully rehabbing myself, not being able to go into the gym like at all, like just doing body weight movements, standing up and walking. I strained my right hip. Like that was terrible. So like just forcing myself to move, and like it made me mad. Like I started doing yoga. That was like the first thing I could do, but I couldn't put any weight on my hands. You don't realize how debilitating certain things are until you like, I didn't even know I used that limb that much. Oh, mascot alert.
I think this is something that I'm starting to see a pattern here with folks who were into training, but then were injured that sort of hindered their training, and all that did was make them better at what they do. Because when parts of your body start shutting down is when you start learning exactly what those things do. And how they function and how your entire body works together. I know I messed up my elbow and it was out of commission for like 3-4 months, but it definitely taught me, all the different placements. And I'm starting to see this pattern where if there is a moderate injury, right? Nothing severe or career ending or debilitating, right? But that seems to, for people who are into this, that seems to be more of a boost. Like it's a minor thing, but in the long term, they always look back and it's a learning experience. And I think that might be like one of those separating things of like what makes somebody successful and what makes somebody maybe not successful is that they learn from unfortunate circumstances rather than accidents becoming a wall.
Yeah.
Right.
I would say, I feel like you just take a lot of the mobility for granted when you're just grinding it out and you feel fine or whatever, and then something like it's kind of like life altering will happen, even if it's like temporary. It makes you start thinking about it again. So I think that's the reason why I think everybody goes back into training after an injury. They'll treat it differently in a way. There's a new spark then, I guess I would say.
Right.
But talk to us about, because you're talking about like being bullied and stuff like that when you were a kid. Talk to us about what that was like at an early age, and like how did that, I guess, feel? Because I mean I was there too. I was bullied too.
Right. It felt great. Well, kind of like going back to what he said. I'm super grateful for every fucking bad shit that ever happened to me, because we as humans, like you can make a choice to either grow from something or to let it be debilitating. But when you grow from it, it makes you that much stronger. So every negative experience that we have, and that's the training, real life, whatever, every trauma we have, it's a great opportunity for growth. How did it feel? I mean, like in the time, like I'm a pretty outgoing kind of goofy person in elementary school. Like I had friends. I was like mainly friends with boys. Like I played like all the like tag or like Pokemon or like whatever. And
Hell
like
yeah.
I grew up in Florida. I grew up in Florida in Siesta Key, which is Sarasota Southwest. It's southwest of Orlando area. And it was a really nice area. The house value there is really high. So I lived with my grandma and my mom. And the girls that went to, not in my elementary school, but once I went to middle school, the girls that went there were pretty, like, not nice people, pretty much.
Like Mean Girls, like pretty much like the movie.
Right, literally like Mean Girls. So the fact that I was kind of like more on like the tomboyish side, or like I was just a little grittier. Like I just wasn't about to wear like all designer clothes every single day. I still like looked all right, but girls are just fucking rude. I was in sports. I got called a dyke. And then when I started gaining weight, I literally, like, the kids there were terrible. I got literal death threats. This girl told me she was going to kill me with the fork that I ate off because I'm a fat piece of shit. Like,
Jesus
I got
Christ.
literally, right. These girls were terrible. And the school did literally nothing. Like, they're like, well, you guys, parents should talk.
Yeah, I mean, that's fucking sucks.
Right. So, but it's okay. Looking back at it, like I moved from Florida to Illinois in high school, and I rejoined track. And then so I went from in middle school, I was like, I don't know. I was probably like 70 pounds, like literally 170 pounds in like the 2.5-year span. Like it was fucking crazy, which is a lot. I'm a little person, and it wasn't muscle, I like hoarded myself in. I literally went home, played RuneScape every day, and locked myself in the room. So I stopped doing activity. I I ate a lot. Like I would stop at there's like a Circle K on the walk home from my bus stop. I got candy every day. I just gained a bunch of weight. I felt like shit, but I didn't really express it, and I didn't want my mom to go to school telling on me.
Right.
But no, they're gonna make fun of me more. It's not a big deal. But I don't know, looking back, at the time, I guess it was oh my God, Anakin. It was a lot. I still have this problem. I didn't really, let myself, feel it. I didn't even really know, it bothered me as much as it did, as it obviously did. And, looking back, I'm like, wow, that was terrible. But, you see, mean actions of others, and people say, people are only mean, if they're jealous of you. I don't think it's that they're jealous of me. I think it was that they don't fully love themselves or learned things from their parents, right? And so, a lot of people think that, people act a certain way because of that, but I think it's really just learned behaviors. I guarantee they weren't jealous of me then. But
I feel I feel like there's some insecurity with those types of individuals that, they go out of their way to make somebody, feel bad or whatever. And Arthur just kind of whispered, he's like, where are they now? I wonder what these people are. Do you talk to any of these people still? Do you keep in contact? No.
No, but I've seen a few of the people on social media that were more terrible, and they're not doing anything great with their life. But I don't even wish that. I don't even wish that on them. I still, I think it is insecurity. 1 billion%. I think it's also taught insecurity, and that's sad. That's sad. If you look at those people now, I'm fucking good now, but how are they? They're probably not. They're still probably not doing too well, and
Right.
That sucks.
I mean, I've done that before, where I would look up the old school bully or whatever, just see where they're at.
On Facebook, yeah, they're always who was it? Oh my God, it was one of the athletes in the high school, and I look at them now, and they're literally where I was in high school, super fat, plays video games, dead end job.
The tables have turned.
And I'm like, what up, son? Let's go.
Right. What's your gamer tag, bro?
Yeah, what's your gamer tag, bro?
What's your gamer tag? Right now, I am stronger than you, faster than you, and bitch, I still beat you at the video games. So what do you got now?
Right.
Nothing.
Let's go.
But you were pretending you didn't like this shit.
Yeah.
Guess what?
It seems that seems to have been the trend, like that nerdy kind of a person. Before was this this outcast person, but then nerdiness, whatever that means nowadays, became a cool thing. If you're that nerd type,
oh
it's
yeah, now it's
super.
In.
Yeah, it's super in.
Right.
You're not that weirdo anymore.
Right, we missed the trend.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I guess.
just
Oh,
missed
no,
that
no, no,
one.
no. We made the trend.
We set
We
the trend.
suffered
Right.
so the nerd
Right.
younglings can have their life be safe.
Right.
Okay?
You
I
guys
see
are
it.
welcome.
I see
Public
it.
duties fulfilled.
Yes.
So-
we paved the way for today's nerds.
So you grew up in Florida. So when did you actually come to Illinois again? I missed
When
that.
I was a freshman in high school, so it would have been like 2007.
Okay.
2007.
07. And what high school did you go to?
Downers Grove South.
Downers Grove South. I don't even know. Oh, I think I know where that is.
Yeah, that's in Downers Grove.
Oh, I know that. I know that.
And south
Right.
side of Downers Grove. Yeah.
Yep, that's it.
Well, that's cool. So then you went to college after that. Did you like jump around anywhere?
So right after high school, so I moved from Florida to Illinois. My mom and I moved in with my uncle, and his kids, and I went to school with my cousins. So that was really cool. I had 4 guy cousins, and they're fucking dope. So like I immediately like belonged in like groups of friends like right away when I moved here. So that was super cool. Right after high school, I was working full time. I went to college at DePage for 2 years. I went to their honors college. I was in Phi Kappa Theta, which is like whatever, some random like honor society. And then I went to UIC. And I finished just with my bachelor's there. I was going to go, initially my plan was to go for my doctorates in physical therapy, which is an additional 3-year program. But I did shadowing at physical therapy internships and whatnot, and it was so boring. I went to a lot of them. Like, so I went to specialized ones too, or I went to this one lady who focused on like balance and vestibular issues. So she had a good number of athletes that like suffered from concussions and stuff. So like that one was a little bit more cool. There was a few like the Lovables cheerleaders that went to that facility, and like they were cool because like they actually wanted to get better because like they wanted to still be able to do cheer. But then there was like most of the people are just like debilitated from like their job or something, and they have no passion. It's like personal training, right? Like they didn't have any like the personal training aspect of it. Just like, oh, here, do these super minor exercises for the next hour and do it for the rest of the week by yourself. Like no one fucking did it. So,
Right. So
I got mad and
so which is interesting. I mean, like when you think about like physical therapy or like I guess like training somebody within physical therapy, would you say doing more personal training where the person's fairly mobile, is that more fun? Would you say than trying to work a broken person? I guess.
Right. I feel like all my clients are broken people. Like every single one of us have mobility issues, and
Sure.
it just depends on what level of severity it is. So it is cooler because they are more able and they're literally signing up for you. So
Yeah.
instead of being referred from their doctor and them just wanting the lazy way out usually of surgery, but just being told to possibly do that first, they're going to you. They're going to you saying, I want to work on myself. And then they're not focused on the injury as the fixation. They're like focused on like them bettering themselves as the fixation, and you can just throw mobility into or like just certain movements into their mix. So yeah, it's like a little bit, it's like more of a challenge in my opinion, because I know I need to fix their movement for them to be able to get stronger, for me to be able to like add more weights to them so they're actually able to wreak progress instead of like all that cardio bullshit all the time.
Right.
So it's like a bigger challenge. And then you start off as a trainer, usually you only get weight loss clients, right? Like you start off and like you have to build yourself up and your reputation up. And I feel like the clients I have right now are like badasses. So like all of them are like, I push them pretty fucking hard. Like I train a lot of men and women. Like I have 15 clients. It's pretty evenly mixed, and it's like mainly strength training. And like I add the mobility in there too. And they're all like very strong minded. Like all my clients are like either starting to open their own businesses now or like something. Like it's like almost like leveled energy. So this part of my training career has been like the coolest part I for sure have had yet. And it's like challenging because I'm working with like kind of like mental aspects of it too, which obviously we're trainers, but like we're definitely like underpaid therapists too,
Yeah.
But it's so cool. So like it's definitely more challenging than physical therapy. They want it, and like then their drive grows, and like as an inspirational person, or like is someone's influencer or leader, they choose me as their leader, like I'm consistently working on myself to be better for them. So like the more I challenge myself, literally without me even trying, literally my whole crew of people has been challenging their selves more. And it's like weird how that energy just like transferred without me telling them like, hey, work on yourself. The people around me are just all of a sudden working on themselves. And it's so cool how that works. That's literally what I want for them.
So you did bring up that you train both men and women, which which leads to, you know, a fairly organic question here, which is your approach between training them different? And I kind of want to preface this. Most of my training partners have been women, and for some reason I've preferred being partnered with women when I train. I don't know why. And when I teach women how to do powerlifting, I feel like they just pick up faster than dudes.
Right.
Is there a different approach you take, or have you noticed anything different between training women versus training men?
Right. My ladies train harder. Usually, almost always. And that's not because I try to push them harder. Like it's personal training for a reason. You read each individual as who they are. You know, you have to figure out what influences them, what level they want to be pushed at. Kind of like obviously I'm the decision maker in that, like what they're going to be doing. But like you want to read them so their adherence is high. So like kind of like what environment's best suiting for that person, or like their injuries or what they need to do. So men and women, like there's a lot of different, but I definitely like a lot of the times I feel like my women like push the fuck out of themselves. Like there's like little complaining to none. Sometimes that's not always the case, but like I do see like I have some badass ladies. Whereas like my guys, like some of my guys are also like they're all strong. Right now I have like 15 people that I want to train. Like I didn't train everybody. I like closed myself off at 15. I literally have like a waiting list of clients. So I get to choose that. So like right now I feel like all the people that I train are freaking beasts. So that's pretty dope. But yeah, I kind of like, I feel like men like will take barking orders a little, like I can be a little bit harsher to them, if that makes sense. Like I'm a little bit more direct in my tone and words. Whereas like sometimes with women, like I speak about it a little bit more, which is nothing wrong with that. Like that's how I prefer to be coached as well. But for certain guys, it's kind of like do this, like more like direct or authoritative. And it's just like, that got me better results with my dudes. I had a case study. I don't know. That might not be right. It might be because it's harder for women. I think maybe like it's harder for women to get a good role for men unless it's like not necessarily always sexualized, but it can be for guys who want to listen to like someone like if it's a female like and it's not sexual based at all. Like you better show that you know what the fuck you're talking about, and you better show that you know what you're doing. I don't know if that's fair to say, but that's how I feel. So. Making sure I like kind of like know my ground, or like I make sure I show like, hey, I'm knowledgeable. Like this is going to get results. Like don't talk to me as if this is like just like a sexual encounter. Because in the gym, it definitely like people would want to train with me, and I definitely were just like, honestly, I just wanted to holler at you. I'm like, well, that's not my life. So good luck, buddy.
Do you feel like there is a difference in treatment? And I'm not talking about clients in this case. I'm talking about like as a personal trainer, is there, because I'm not in that world, but I think that this is a fair question between Chris and you. Do you feel like there's a difference in how clients will interact with like a women personal trainer versus a male personal trainer?
Right.
Like how you're perceived.
Well, some women are just more comfortable with women, so that does give women an edge sometimes if they set their groundwork. Because like a lady will have to like want that body type for her to want to train with them. But, or like she might just feel more comfortable, or if they're in like a relationship or whatever and the husband or significant other doesn't want them training with like some other dude, because thinks dude's just going to be hollering. So that gives like a female like somewhat of an edge. But I do feel that people, like males, are more respected in the gym aspect. And that could just be historically, like just guys have been in the gym world longer. So it doesn't necessarily have to, I don't know. And also there's just more guys in the gym. But I think both, like it's like our bodies are our sales point and
I
like
mean,
our respect level.
I would
per
agree.
se.
I would agree. I think there's a certain sales point to, looking a certain kind of way, I guess, at least for, the common person. Like somebody might be very knowledgeable and, have, everything right, and they could coach the shit out of you, but a lot of people are very visual, unfortunately, where it's like, okay, well, this person, he looks like he lifts, or but they might just be completely, might not necessarily be, a good coach, but
Right.
yeah.
Right. I mean, I've had men straight up being like, "You can't train me. You don't know what you're talking about."
Yeah.
Like I've had guys at the gym say that, like, "Okay, then I don't want to train you." That's okay.
Right.
Go ahead. Whatever. Like, and that's just a sort of mindset. So I feel like it doesn't matter what gender you are, what color you are, whatever. Like if you go in and you're knowledgeable and you keep working at it, you're gonna attract your tribe. So like at the end of the day, like you can't really. I don't let any of those things demotivate me. If anything, like that shit's a motivation. Like, all right, bet. Like my whole crew's gonna look fucking dope as shit, and you're gonna look stupid because now I don't want to train you. So whatever. But I'm sure like it goes at the other end too. Like there's probably pluses and minuses of both genders. Like I'm about my shit. I live fucking hard. I do what I have to do, and like I have my own personal experiences. So I'm confident in myself. So whatever. If you don't want it, get on.
Right, exactly. So personal training aside, your main gig would be Carby Eats at this point, right? Like as far as like your time.
No, I think training I do more on. Oh my god, my dog is pissing me off. I train. So I train my 15 clients, and then this is the third 6-week program I do, and then I do daily Zoom workouts as well.
Okay.
Monday through Thursday, so not daily. And then Sundays and Tuesdays are cooking days, but I also train clients on Tuesdays. So, and I have my classes on Tuesdays. So
Okay.
I'd say it's pretty evenly split. I send out more advertisements for Carby Eats, I think. I focus more on like the media of it for like Carby Eats than I do workout wise, because I have the same clients followed over. So there's no sales in terms of that. It's just I've had the same people for 4 years. So
Right. Which is awesome. I mean, if you think about it, that people are, because I've been training like a good handful of people for, since I essentially started. And I mean, like you said, like you find your tribe, you kind of like vibe with those people, or they feed off of whatever it is that you're offering them as far as like, energy,
Right.
advice, whatever it is. And,
Right.
they stick around.
Right.
So, well, where did the idea of Carby Eats come from? Like, what made you want to do, a meal prep company?
Right. So as you remember at Export, I got like made fun of a lot. Not really made fun of. People poke fun of me like liking carbs, right? Because I like to eat. And I'm not even gonna talk specific, but there's like a whole crew of people that pretty much like want to give people like 70 grams of carbs. Totally.
Total?
Yeah, they're total amount. All you need is 70 grams of carbs, basically, and there's protein, no healthy fats. It's just that you're gonna have 1,000 calories, no matter your height or weight, whatever.
Right.
I've had a really negative association with food, especially like from middle school when I like gained a lot of weight. Like then I got really afraid of gaining weight back, and like really afraid. And then when I did those shows, like I went through on my second show, I messed up entirely. I kept fucking up. Like that is probably like, I kept fucking up my diet. And continuously, I had a lot of like life things happen, and I kept fucking it up, and that shit like fucked with me so hard mentally. And I noticed that like the biggest thing out there right now is people have this negative association, or like this negative, like this health world almost is like toxic as hell.
Yeah.
Like the people's association with food is like, oh, you're having a cookie, like, oh, you're a fat piece of, like,
yeah, like, come
like
on.
how can you do that? You're in fitness. And I think that having a balanced diet is the end of the world, but it's not, because when you are afraid to literally eat a single cookie, that's when binging happens. That's like when you don't feel like comfortable, you're not happy with what you're doing. So Carby Eats, I try to, what I'm doing is I'm recreating some of like the cooler dishes in Chicago. Like we just made a teriyaki bowl So it's like fried rice. There's no oil, like fried part of it, but there's like an egg and rice and whatever. And then teriyaki chicken. We do like a chicken and waffle meal. We do a taco bowl. We do a fajita bowl. We have buffalo chicken, and we have barbecue chicken. Like we try to make, we make burgers, and then we just make cheeseburgers, and the buns are sweet potato. Like trying to add a twist to it to recreate people's favorite foods. Because, yeah, I mean, America is super unhealthy, but, like, there's no reason we can't eat our favorite foods, and we don't have to sacrifice taste. We don't have to sacrifice loving what we eat, and you don't have to have a negative connotation with a certain food type. Like, you should be able to be in a healthy relationship with yourself and with food. So I got really driven to help people with eating because it's something I struggled really hard with. This is by far the healthiest I've been with food, for sure. So.
And I mean, I agree completely about like your food philosophy, essentially, where like you shouldn't be as restrictive, as a lot of like certain individuals try to make others to be, as far as like,
right.
Putting them on a very specific kind of plan, and it might be,
right.
cookie cutter and everybody gets the same plan. And,
yeah, it might be.
Yeah. And, and essentially the only reason a lot of the times they'll follow that diet, even if it's for like 2-3 months, is because they're told to, and for the most part, it's very you're most likely in a deficit of calories because it's very specific, and it's very restrictive. So I mean, at the end of the day, you would agree that it would be calories in, calories out.
Right, I'm very much so calories in, calories out. Very few people do I think have like a certain food type that their body responds really poorly to. Like you might bloat a little bit more to like different carbs or something, sure, whatever. But like in terms of fat loss, nah, it's just you're eating too much. Yeah. Like that's the best research. You're eating too much. You're not realizing how many calories that Big Mac just was. Like you're over predicting how much your exercise calories burned were. Mm-hmm. You thought you killed it. You sat on that bike chilling for 45 minutes. You're like, I did 45 minutes of cardio every day this week. It's like you burned maybe 68 calories in that hour, like extra outside of what you would have done from laying down. Like so, right. Like people like kind of like overcalculate their work and undercalculate the food that they're eating. And it's just like small things. I think people try to completely recreate someone's diet, and that isn't it. You need to look at exactly what that person, because you have to look at what they're already doing. Because when you have to recreate something, that's saying everything that you are doing is wrong. And that's not true. There's probably very good habits that person already has and already instilled in themselves. And there's like 1 or 2 or 3 things throughout their day that's small that can make a huge impact. And those small habits add up to a bigger outcome. And it's way more rewarding. It's way more long term. And it's way like it gives better adherence and better happiness because there's a higher success rate.
We had an episode about diets before, and I think it's time to maybe do one more about that relationship with food at some point, because I think what you said was very poignant. There is a huge issue in the United States where we have a really piss poor relationship with our food and how we eat. I mean, I definitely came from that too. I'm an emotional overeater, and that was one of the biggest things I had to deal with when I was losing weight was that. But I have a more general question. We know that if you have a very specific goal, like when you're talking about like the upper echelon of super athlete, right? You're trying to get from like 8% body fat to 6% body fat, right? That requires a very specific, particular restrictive diet. But for the vast majority of people, what do you think is stopping like the average person from having a healthy relationship with food? What's wrong? Specifically, let's say just like in the U.S., what's wrong? What's stopping people from eating healthy?
Well, I have a few things. One's convenience. So first off, like convenient is nice. 2 is taste. 3 is like, I think, like I said, like people think that healthy is terrible and bland. So they think that they have to have like all these programs out here have like 800 calories in a day. They think that that is what you have to do to be on point or finally correct. Right. People think like they set here's it. They set their expectations way too high. They don't set realistic goals for themselves. And because of the convenience of everything around them, there's no way that you're going to go from 0 to 100,000 overnight. Like you said, there is a small group of people, trainers, that like they'll listen to those things. I think it's that community. Same thing with like keto, intermittent fasting, any of those fad diets, there's a community. So, oh, Bob did it. Sure. Oh, there's kids in fucking Africa that only live off 500 calories a day. Let's just destroy our nutrition system. They can do it. I can do it. Like, they put themselves on extremes. And then, like, when they aren't successful on that, the convenience just overwhelms the outcome. So it's because I think we've set too big of expectations. And then also socially, it's like everything is food. And then also, like, like the people that you surround yourself with, if they're not trying to be better, sometimes like if you're in a lower part, everybody else is in a lower part too, and they're trying to also keep you at that lower part, like without them even realizing it. Part of their tribe of lower parts.
Yeah, that the social aspect of food is crazy. I mean, like first date, right? Dinner, or there's always something about food. Like you go out for dinner, you go out for lunch. Like there's so much of our social aspect that's created by food. Carly, I want your thoughts on this. I firmly believe that to people who have an unhealthy relationship with food, there seems to me two philosophies, and I wonder where you fall in this massive dichotomy, or if you're somewhere in the middle. There are the folks who see food as fuel. And that's their relationship with food. The amount of food you eat and what you eat is directly proportional to what you can do. And then on the other side of the spectrum, there are the people who see food as a reward. So if you do X, then you get to eat Y. And again, that first section is I ate X, so I get the ability to do Y. Where do you fall on that, and do you think one is healthier than the other, or do you fall somewhere in between that continuum?
Right. So it depends, I think, on maybe my goal. If I have a specific goal in mind, I think my mindset goes more from like, if you eat this, you have to do this. And I don't think that's healthy. But that's like something that I've like worked out of somewhat. Now, what I'm doing right now is if I very much want this treat, I don't think about it as a workout or my fuel at all. Like I just have it. And I have a generalized, like, here's what my general breakfast is, my lunch, my dinner. And I vary out what I eat because I have a meal prep company. So like I have extra food that I make for myself and I weigh that out and I have control in those aspects. But I'm bad at tracking. That's who I am. Like I'm bad at tracking. I don't want to track. Like if I get overwhelmed at that, like it's too much for me. I don't want to. Like, so I know I could probably eat more effectively and more efficiently. But I don't care to. I don't want to get overwhelmed. So I made like a general layout. And then if I really am craving something, I fucking have it and I don't make myself work out and I don't work out afterwards this amount more because I had it or whatever, like as my fuel or whatever. I just had it and it's out of sight, out of mind, keep it going. Kind of just like what my body asks, I guess.
I mean, I agree. Like it's really difficult to, like when we sometimes suggest that a client maybe, track your calories. Usually what I'll have that person do is just track, about a week or so of calories, just that 1 week. And just so it gives me a better idea of their just habits, because most of the times their habits are going to translate over time anyways. Like they're probably going to do the same thing next week and the week after that. And it's definitely strenuous, like just getting so meticulous with how many, did I have half a cup or a fourth of a cup or whatever. I also believe like as long as you're within the ballpark, because we can never, get down the exact caloric amount because you might have that smaller piece of bread or whatever within that package or whatever it is. So you're not always going to be 100% correct. But I think as long as people have like a basic understanding of nutrition, what should their meals require, as far as like a balance, and then just kind of go from there,
Right. So what I do with, for instance, for Carby Eats, what I did is I added two things to the site. The first one was a calorie calculator. So first off, they can figure out around how many calories they should have per day. After that, I have a quiz that I added to the website right after that. That has like, what are you already eating pretty healthily on your own? Like, how many meals do you tend to eat in a day? Put like whatever the calories were that were calculated in that little thing up there, put how many that was, and it calculates like realistically like where your struggled foods are. So like, you eat out every day at lunchtime. All right, so that's what you should probably supplement, not your whole day. Like if you're already eating healthy breakfast, like maybe add that in, and then it tells you we have 4-ounce options and 6-ounce options of protein, and then different amounts of carbs. It tells you very specifically, like, here, this would fit in here. So instead of it being overwhelming for them, it just tells them what meals to buy. I think that's kind of it. Like people write out. I tell my clients to tell me like, give me in general like what's your morning look like, what's your lunch look like, what's your dinner look like. Do you have snacks? If they're typically like, I only eat breakfast, I don't get to eat till after work, but I do eat like an asshole. Like, all right, let's see if we can get you a protein shake or something at work, and then how many calories we can get you after dinner. That isn't like an asshole, so that way you're not as hungry in it. It's like everybody is super, super different, and it's super complicated if we make it overly complicated. I just focus on a habit at a time. And with myself too. That's what I do too. Like,
how'd you come up with a lot of those meals? How'd you essentially decide on the current lineup of food that you currently have?
like in terms of like what kind of food I made, or like the sizes or something.
Yeah, like the types, I guess. Yeah.
Right. So when I was prepping for stuff, I figured out stuff for myself. So you could make turkey burgers, right? And like, well, what would be cooler with the turkey than like just a plain turkey burgers? Like, well, having a bun like would make it cool. Like making things like cool, or like Chicago's known for its food. So like I'm just kind of thinking like, I know there's a lot of chicken and waffle places here. How can I remove any of the fried aspect of it, any of the trans fats from it? How can I make it like a healthier version? It was like kind of like experiments with myself. And I was like, all right, so that was fun. Figured that out, made it more like slightly more protein packed, because humans don't need as much protein as like all this protein added stuff. Like in fact, like people need more carbs, it's just they're eating like assholes, right? So it's not the problem. And then it's like other like taco bowls, like who the fuck doesn't like tacos? I love tacos. So I'm like trying to think of things that people like. I love food, man. I love food. All day, every day. I love food. So, like, what would I want to eat?
Right,
every fucking day. Like, fun food. Like, I don't want to fucking feel like this bland-ass piece of chicken.
Chicken, broccoli, rice. Times 5.
My life has to be miserable for me to be happy. Fuck no, it doesn't. Like, no, it doesn't.
No.
So what can I have? Like, what can I make? I want other people to succeed so bad. And I feel like it's just America almost like kind of sets people up for failure, and all these fad diets and bullshit, and like these fucking companies that tell you to have 2 shakes and like 1 fucking meal a day. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean,
like you're misleading so hard. Like,
I just know like when I have those days, like if for whatever reason, like if I'm like stressed out and I just happen to eat just 1 meal that whole day, like I feel like garbage. I need to have some kind of steady source of nutrition in some aspects. I'll usually eat anywhere between 3 to 5 times, I think, in the day, depending what I'm trying to do. But I'll be averaging like maybe 3 to 4. Honestly, it's like 3 to 4 meals, and then I might sneak in a shake or 2 or whatever. But yeah,
that right there. How many people don't realize that how much of why they feel like shit is because their diet is garbage.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of those things where you don't even realize that you feel shit because of your food until you actually develop like a healthy diet and you're on a routine and you're like, oh my God, I feel great. And then you fall off of that. Maybe you overate, maybe you underate, whatever. You're like, oh, that's why I felt like shit all those years. It wasn't my job. It wasn't this. It was like I was just eating like an asshole.
Which then could translate into you acting a certain kind of way or whatever it is, right? Hangry.
Right. So like we're so we have malnutrition like everywhere. Like everyone is eating so little nutrition. Like you go to fast food all day, you're not getting shit, man. Like
barely, like bare minimum,
right.
That's one of the things I get to teach in my agriculture unit is the difference between undernutrition and malnutrition. In the U.S., we get plenty carbs, fats, proteins. We don't have a macro problem. We have a micro problem.
Yep.
How many fucking people are magnesium deficient, vitamin D deficient? I mean actual deficiency. I don't mean like, oh, everybody should take vitamin D pills. No, I mean actual like diagnosable deficient in magnesium, potassium, and a couple of like trace vitamins. It's insane.
Yeah. I didn't know.
Right. Everyone's micros are super fucked up. Like a lot. Especially like there's hardly any sun here, so that's vitamin D too. And like then there are people that don't fucking eat right at all. Like that's like one of the main things that like when you're older, like the gyno has to check out women's like D, like calcium, whatever. Their bones are getting so brittle. Like women's bones very like way too young are getting brittle because they're not fucking eating enough, like the right things. Not getting any of their micros in. Like whatever.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Well, isn't that what we're all here for? To unfuck the world?
Yes, we're here.
Isn't
to
that what all of this is? Just
Exactly.
unfuck it?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Hopefully.
Yeah. I guess it's time for our.
I guess it's time. Carly, are you joining us in on this fake natty news, or are we skipping?
I can try. I don't know how good I am at reading it.
Oh, we're hot trash.
Oh my God,
still
we're
doing
terrible.
it.
We've been. This is like what our 6th attempt at doing this skit,
yeah.
and it's just always bad. It's always bad.
Right. I read it out loud once, and I just like when I got back from my client's place, I was like, oh wow, I'm not gonna say this well. This is gonna suck.
So I guess I'll run. So there's a little intro scene that I pop in, and then it goes through a little bit of an animation, and then it looks like Arthur kicks it off, and then I guess we would just follow that.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right,
we'll see how it goes. We'll play it by ear.
I don't even have it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll let you know when this thing's over, but it's popping up on the screen. This is even better.
It's just
I love those
three
three
bros.
dudes.
they just like
Super bros.
I needed to find a picture of like people who would definitely accuse somebody of being a fake natty, and I was just like, and I looked up like teenagers in a gym, and I found like that picture. Oh my God,
That's
it's
them.
these guys.
There's
them.
There's Kyle,
Them.
Chad, and
There's
fucking
Kyle, Chad, and fucking Nick. Or something. I don't know.
Kyle, Chad, and Nick. Single syllable names.
God. All right, let's do this.
Go for it.
Welcome to Fake Natty News Network, your least trustworthy but honest source for fake fitness news. My name is Addy Pose.
And I am Carby D. These are your top headlines for the day. Dr. Valkyrie Brodington from the large vaccine company Broderna appeared on a number of news agencies this week encouraging bros and brolettes to get themselves vaccinated. She assured the strength community that while there is no evidence this particular injection is guaranteed to give you superhuman strength, there is also no evidence that says the Rona vaccine won't give you massive delts, chiseled abs, and aesthetic calves, so it's worth a try. Here is a quote from a recent interview.
Come on, really? You will inject whatever you bought from a shady dude in the locker room at the gym, but you're hesitant to get something from an actual medical professional? I've seen so many of you bros and brolettes drink down questionable powders that might as well contain cow piss, ground beaver ass, and sawdust. What's the matter? Afraid of a sore arm? Weak-ass pansies, every last one of you. Close your eyes, suck it up, and pretend to take another trend shot.
Thank you very much for that clip, Dr. Brodington. In other news this week, NASA recently landed their new rover Perseverance on Mars this past Thursday. The scientists explained this mission has 3 primary goals. Look for remnants of biosignatures to determine if Mars ever supported life, to test fly and gather data on a small helicopter designed to fly in a less dense atmosphere, and to scan Mars to determine if there is anything more to life than just being jacked as fuck. For centuries now, scientists have tried to look for another reason to live other than getting big traps and adding 5 pounds to your squat max. The astronomers working for NASA are hopeful that this mission will give them something more to look forward to when getting home from work other than going to the gym. This has been Fake Natty News. Thank you for being here with us.
And that's the game.
That's the game.
All right, Carly. Did you have any last words that you wanted to share with us, or shout outs or anything like that?
Mm-hmm. You guys can all order from CarbyEats.com or join my 6-week challenge.
I'm going to get some people in that. Yeah.
You should.
Get your asses to work out, damn it.
Get your asses to Cardi B. Cardi B. Oh my God.
Cardi B.
Damn. Hey.
Grab a mop and bucket for all this. Wait, I'm losing it.
Right. Run this shit like cardio. But it's mainly based off actually trying to educate and help form habits like I was talking about earlier. So every single week I make an individual challenge and I pair people up in groups of 3. There's 6 different influencers every Saturday. I'm not trying to take nobody's clientele. I'm not taking on any more clients, but it's just to help with habit forming and education and try to block out some of that. I really want to ultimately I want to change the damn world. I want to change how people see stuff. So the more proper education, the more people that are involved, the more people in the community that are involved, they can help one another and meet each other, especially in COVID times of doing it all virtually. So if you know anybody, it's going to be super fucking dope. And then we're going to do a cooking class, a yoga class, a breathing class, and my muscle class, and then just general nutrition and exercise programming, basically, so people can be somewhat self-sufficient, but not, they'll still need trainers, obviously.
Cool.
All my clients do it. But yeah, it's fun. WilliamsFitness.com/6-week challenge. That's it. Other than that, yeah, it's good.
When I repost the podcast, I'll get a few clips and we'll kind of circulate that around a little bit. Yeah.
All right, cool.
We'll make sure to give you a shout out. Speaking of shouting, there's so much